Hey guys, welcome out to the pain cave in my basement here in Salt Lake City. OTR Racing, this is the ZRL Racing League. Getting ready to start here. And so hang tight, let's switch over to the live screen. Should just have a few seconds. And here we go, we're following Tim. Looks like he's staying right here nice with the front group. Let's see who else we got up here. Scott Adams. So it looks like since I'm in Pen E, it's like acting like the race hasn't even started yet. So it's not showing me position or anything. These guys are rolling. It looks like Scott is well up front. Looks like there's a bunch of OTR jerseys right up the front. See how Nathan looks. Nathan's right in here. Can't see a mini map or anything yet, so got another minute 20 before my banner drops, so it's kind of at our mercy here. Forgot to calculate that into the equation when joining the E-Pen. They start at different times, so just another minute now. Looks like we got several OTR boys right up front here. Nate's right on the front. This is that long drag. 3 to 5% climb. And I have no idea where they're at on it because I can't see anything yet, like I said. And time snuck up on me, so I didn't have time to run down the start list. Fortunately, I can look at it. Looks like everything's going good with the recording. And here we go, we're finally live now. Need to take a look and see how Tim's doing. Tim's back here a little bit. Looks like he's moving up. Still on that 5% section. Looks like we roll over the top of that climb here shortly and we get a little bit of a downhill. Looks like one rider rolling off the front. We've still got a huge group here up front. Tim's making it right to the front. Looks like he's following Colin Saunders, the Colonel. Those guys are in P2 and P3 respectively, chasing down this solo rider, putting the hurt on everybody. So let's run down our teams. Let's move back, see where Scotty's at. So here's Scotty. Looks like he's back in the 20s. So we got two teams here on course that we can follow. We've got Ziel Brekers and Slakken Both of those are Dutch words if you're wondering what the heck's up with that. So on Slakken, we've got Shaw Gallagher, David Williams, Kevin Frudd, Scott Adams, and Tim Rush, who's kind of captain. And then on Ziel Brekers, we've got Colin, the Colonel, Jeff Bassett, Matt Thompson, Nathan Kiger, Neil Hodgson, and Paul Duffy. So, strong team. Looks like there's a bit of a split here. These guys are starting to put a little bit of a gap on the group behind. Definitely stretching out. This is just a false flat 1% before we make the hard right-hand turn, and then after a little bit of another false flat, we drop down on the riverbed on the super steep downhill. But it looks like we got a bunch of OTR riders in here. Looking at the standings. Let's break in here for a second. Well, it looks like that's not going to work, so we'll go back to that. So definitely got a good split here. Let's try to look and see who's on the tail end. Here's Jeff Bassett. Still over 40 guys in this lead group. And so they're going to make this hard right-hand turn, and we get another false flat. Let's do the backward view. So here's the group behind, but there's just a small group, maybe 5 or 6 guys there, and then it's pretty much carnage behind that. So we'll have to see if that small group can get back on. So let's go back up here with Scotty. So these guys are just topping this false flat, and then they're going to head down the big super steep downhill that we had to climb last week in WTRL. Got 5 guys right on the front here. Look at that. We got Tim, Charles, Kevin, Scotty, all leading out the front. So these guys are putting the herd on. %8 downgrade now. These guys are rolling up to 70 kph. Even starting to trail some guys off on the downhill, and that little group that was trying to chase on is pretty much gone. So Scotty dropping back a little bit here. Neil is wearing a mohawk like Tim, so those guys are right there together. Still a little bit of a downhill before we... Now we got that little bit of a climb before we make the right and head down into the riverbed to get ready for the big KOM. So here's the standings that I was talking about. Well, we got a second here. So Ziel Brekers are in 4th, Slakken are in 11th. And then here's the rider list I was talking about. Let's sort this by rank and see how. So we still have 5 guys right up there at the top. All right, let's get back to the live action, see what's going on. So these guys are on that long slog. Still following Scotty here. Looks like we got still really good representation. See who that might be on the front there. Colin maybe. So yeah, Colin's right up the front. Looks like Colin It's got the red and black helmet. Okay, so we're making the turn, heading down into the riverbed here. And getting ready. Should be ramping things up. And then as we cross the river, you see up here, then that's where the KOM starts. We got about a 3.5 minute climb. Looks like we got somebody kind of getting tailed off the back there. Oh, Nathan. Boy, Nathan's struggling to hang on. Come on, Nathan, you can do it. Let's go to Nathan's view. So hopefully he can get in that super tuck and not lose the draft and catch on to this group before they hit the climb. Not looking good though. That group's going to be carrying a ton of speed, so they already got a 2-second gap. So, man, tough break there for Nate. Looks like another guy getting dropped off of that group. Travis. Looks like Travis is still in this group. Might have missed Travis on the team announcement there. Not sure what happened there, but if I did, sorry about that. Okay, so these guys are well on to the KOM now. Let's see. Looks like Kevin may very well be our top rider, and he's right up there, P1 and 2, so he might be able to grab some points on this KOM. Look behind him. Grab my headphones so I can listen in on Discord with these boys. Let's see how everybody else is doing. Collins right up there in P10. This thing's definitely stretching out. No big gaps yet. Collins just blew by Kevin. He's up to P7. See how Tim's faring? Looks like Tim's in the front of just a little bit of a split there, so he needs to hang in there. He's in P34. Those guys need to really kind of dig in and try to catch that group, or they are pretty much racing for 1 point. Well, it looks like Tim's dropped down a couple watts per kilogram, so he's struggling just a little bit here. So you can see the arch coming up. Another guy looks like he's thrown the anchor out. Quite a bit of carnage here. Looks like Scotty's in the next group behind Tim here. But these front guys already have a pretty good gap. So let's bounce up there to Colin and Kevin. See how those guys are looking. A little bit of a split over the front in front of Colin here. Oh boy, they are just strung out. Brutal stuff. So there's a group that's about 3 or 4 seconds up the road, all strung out, and there's a big group forming behind. Colin's kind of in no man's land here, but there's only like 3, 4 guys up the road, so he's in P6. I'm guessing with this group coming up from behind that's all going to come back together. Let's see how Travis is doing. He's riding really strong. Travis is back in this group. He's got Tim with him now. So it looks like these guys got a couple boys in this chase group in the 40 position range. Scotty, Tim, and Travis at least all in that same group. They got a pretty good sized group, and there's some stragglers up ahead, so they may be able to close that. Let's see how Kevin's faring. So it looks like now that front group's all come back together, and Kevin's running back up to the front. Let's see. Colin's on the tail end of that. Let's see what. So there's the group behind. About a 7-second gap to a group behind there. Let's see if that might be the group. So I can't quite tell if this is the main chase group. There's a small group 3 seconds up on these guys. It looks like these guys are probably going to reel in. And then there's another 2 groups up the road. So pretty big gap between that front group and so hopefully these guys can put the hammer down and get in with that group that's just up ahead of them here. While we're on this small loop. And then those guys can mop up some stragglers, and maybe these guys, if they can stay with that group, can fight for some of the better points. Let's jump up here with Colin. Looks like he's riding strong in that front group. Take a drink here. Just got off my bike for about a quick 40K. Let's try to see how many we got in this front group here. Like this guy, Austin Brink, and P18. And the next group, 17 seconds behind. Times are doing a little bit weird. Looks like Jeff Bassett's in that group as well. Let's see if we can grab Jeff. Neil. Okay, so this second group actually I missed, and we've got some guys in here. We got Jeff Bassett and we got Neil Hodgson, and then I see at least one other guy. Who is it? Matt Thompson. There we go. So there's Matt. So these 3 guys are actually in the second chase group, and they are all still in the points. They're like it's like the last guy is this Jay McGuire dude, and he is in P30. And what did we say? We had 18 in the front group, so these guys have got about 12, 13 guys. And then next group, you can see there on the mini map, is about the same distance back, and I'm guessing that's going to be that group with Tim and Travis. Yep, so they just came around the turn onto the small loop. So we've got got guys spread out through the top 3 groups. We're out on the small loop now, coming up to the sprint. Let's move up to that front group. They're just about to do that sprint and see if anybody manages to take some points. Rolling up to it now. What do we got? What do we got? Too many names in the way. Looks like nobody's really going too hard for it. Boy, I think those guys rolled through just out of the points. Doesn't look like anybody worked too hard for that. So these guys are definitely the lead group selection. But they've opened up the gap to that next group with Matt and Neil and company to looks like almost 30 seconds. So they've hit the top of this small loop. They're heading back towards town, join the big loop, and finish out their first lap. I don't think any of our guys were in the points for the KOM either. But these two guys are looking strong. So Kevin is on Slakken, taking the lead right here. And Colin is on Ziel Brekers. So we've got one guy from each team up here. Looks like maybe we should have had Kevin ride on Ziel Brekers and try to get them some extra points. So, but the best laid plans. Let's drop back here and see how Nate's faring. Looks like he's back here in a group, back in the high 40s, low 50s, and I think he's got a couple teammates with him. Paul and D2 and Nathan are all riding together in this group. So at least they got some company. These guys can tough it out, ride together. Let's bounce back up and see how Tim's group's doing. So it looks like these guys have closed some ground. Tim's hanging on the back here on this little climb. I'm guessing this is the second, the climb in the middle of the short loop. Or no, they've already gone past the start-finish line maybe, and they are... Yeah, they're onto the big loop and past the start-finish line already. So they're on that slog, and yeah, these guys are actually reeling in that group in front. Who's up front there? Let's see... Scotty. So these guys are only 14 seconds. Never did get my headphones in so I can listen in on these guys. Things are splitting up a little bit. Looks like maybe these front guys shelled some folks. Let's see what's going on here. There's one guy off the front. And even well before we get to the serious climbing, looks like there's a bit of carnage. So we still got Kevin and Colin up in this front group. I'm guessing these guys have shed some more guys. Let's see what Scotty's group's looking like. Scotty's group's still looking strong. And it looks like all three of those guys are all still in there. There's another straggler off the front group. These guys are going to mop up. Travis is still hanging in there with these guys, and looks like they're splitting. Looks like they're splitting Charles off the back a little bit, maybe. He was putting the hammer down. Let's see, Tim. Come on, Tim, stay with that group. Nice work, stay with that group. Good, we've got, three kind of lead groups here. And we've got riders in all three of them. We got Kevin and Colin up in the front group that's down to about 12 or 15 guys, I think, now. And then there's a group in the middle that's just about, 15, 20 seconds ahead of you guys. And that has Scotty and Neil, and one other in it. Charles, maybe. No, I think Charles is with you guys. Trying to think who it is. Let's take a look here. You guys got three in this group. Still got Travis with you. Yeah, D2 and Nathan are back to a group behind Tim and Travis's group and Scotty. Let's see if I can find somebody. Oh yeah, Matt Thompson's up with that group ahead of you, and they're only I'm guessing like 8 or 9 guys. Looks like and they're definitely the lead group went over the top of the hill, so they're flying now, so I'm going to bounce up with them. So here we go. The front group going down this big descent. Looks like our guys are right up front again, making sure they don't get dropped. Try to see how many are actually in this group. Changing so fast it's hard to tell. Looks like 18, 19 guys. And they've got 36 seconds on the next group. Let's see how those guys look. Let's go back and see how Tim's doing. Back here with Tim's group. You guys are catching that group. It's only 7 seconds. If you guys work together, you might actually be able to reel in that front group a little bit. It's all going to be about the selection on the climb. Make sure you're staying with, Tim and Travis's group and Scotty's group. You guys are just about to reel in that group, and that's the group that's got Neil and Matt Thompson in it. So if you guys can make contact with them, can all come back together. It's down to 6 seconds. Jeff Bassett's in that group up there too. So keep pushing it, guys. Down to 5 seconds. Nice work. Nice work. So yeah, these guys, this is a pivotal moment here. These guys are just about to catch on. It's about the same size group, so it's all about who's working harder. If these guys work together, they can catch this group up front. There's nothing like having a carrot in front of you to motivate you to close out a few final meters, but still got to make it happen. You got to do the work. So it looks like our guys are doing their share of the work. Just tantalizingly close. Definitely looks like they are going to probably catch them. I'm guessing, if nothing else, when these guys hit the rise. So let's bounce up, see if we can. I'm guessing those front guys are probably on the climb, and they are. It looks like everybody's still together. I'm seeing Colin here. I don't see Kevin right off the bat. That's him off the front. Can't imagine he would have gotten dropped. Let me go to his view. Looks like he may be the guy. Yeah, he's off the front. But look at Kevin taking a flyer here. Got a little bit of a gap. Looks like 2 seconds. Looks like they're going to maybe reel him in though, but that was a nice move. Did good on the first tee part. I kind of did this last time too. Getting swamped a little bit now on that flat part. Here comes Colin by. Stay with him, Kev. Going 5.6 watts per kilogram. Tagging onto the tail end of this group. Let's see how our boys in the back are feeling. Looks like Tim's at the front of that group. So this group has now become just a long line. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe Tim is just missing the split a little bit here. Let's see who's up. Got Neil and Matt. Jeff Bassett. Well, Jeff's riding really strong tonight, man. That's a great ride from him. A couple of guys just a couple seconds up the road from Jeff. And then he's got a group on his wheel. Looks like he's going to make contact with those guys. And the front group guys are over 40 seconds up the road. Let's see what happens with these guys. Looks like we got Jeff and Neil for sure, and Matt as well, that are going to be able to stay in this group. Let's see where Scotty's at. Scotty's back with Tim. It looks like unfortunately Tim and Scott and Travis have gotten just a little bit split off. They're in the middle group of what those two groups coming together have now split into 3 groups plus a straggler in the middle. So let's go back up front and see how those guys are faring. Make sure they're all back in with that lead group and see how many people survive that lead group. So they're on the descent going 65K, hauling along, getting ready to join the small circuit and wind this thing up. So let's see what we can determine. So it looks like 16 guys in that front selection. There's a guy 12 seconds back that's in no man's land that I'm sure will probably get snapped up by the chase group. And so let's just drop back real quick and see. Kevin and Colin solidly in this group. And this group, this group's got Scotty, Tim. Okay, and then it's... Alright, so here's the chase group. This is a group with Matt. I don't have any of these guys on my rider list, so it's making me hard to grab them. So this has got Neil in it, looks like, and Neil is P17, 19. But these guys are definitely racing for points, and this has got Jeff still with these guys. So these guys are definitely, if they can finish in the front of this group, can snap up some big points too. And then let's go back and see. Tim's group's a pretty small one, so it looks like they're going to be struggling to get back on with that second chase group. There's a group behind these guys who are trying to chase on. Matt Thompson, 7 seconds behind in that next group down, or he might be in no man's land. Let's go back up to Jeff's group here. Looks like Jeff's struggling a little bit to hang with these guys on this 2% climb. I think we go over the top here, so you get a little bit of a reprieve. And yeah, he's gotten back on with that chase group. So the back of that group's in P30, so these guys are all racing for points. Let's bounce back up to the front group again, though. Let's see where the money's at. So these guys have come through the sprint. Looks like they've still got all their guys together. What did we say? Kevin's in P16 on the tail end of that group. And they've put the hurt on everybody else. So these guys are going to be going for the win. So we're coming down, finishing up the small loop and getting ready to join the big course, and then it'll just be the final push to the finish. So let's follow these guys and see how they fare in this group of 16 for all the marbles. Kevin's hammering up this last little climb before we get back onto the big loop. Needs to be saving that energy and just sitting on the wheels, saving it for that finish climb. Drop back and see how Colin's doing here. These guys are looking good. Need to be just sitting in the wheels. Okay, Colin and Kevin, you guys sit in the wheels, man. Don't be leading us out. Sit in the wheels. Keep in good position, but save it for the final. You're almost there. Top 16 guys in this group. Here comes a big kicker. Try to save a little bit for that last couple hundred meters. It's a false flat. Give you a chance to come over the top of some of these guys that blew their wad on this little kicker. So hang in there, guys. That's it. Don't put your nose in the wind yet. All right, so these guys are looking good. There's a banner. We're a couple 300 meters to go. Looks like Kevin's struggling to keep with this group. Colin's right on the back. See if they've got anything left for this final. Orange numbers all about. Out of the saddle for the final. Looks like they're racing for P14, 15 there. And coming across in 14:15. So let's drop back, see how that next group's doing. So here's Tim's group. Let's go up with, so here's Jeff. Neil. Get with one of my guys. Here's Jeff. These guys are racing for the last scraps of points. Coming up on about 150, 200 meters to go. Orange numbers starting to go off the front. Hopefully these guys save something and have a little bit of sprint in them. Looks like Jeff. Neil coming out of the saddle with some orange numbers. Moved up into 24th. Looks like we got Neil 24th, Jeff in like 26th. Let's drop back and see how Tim's doing. So Tim's group still finishing up. Looks like Tim and Scotty's group just getting ready to cross the line. They are out of the bigger points, so looks like there we have it, folks. So good show. There was a lot of good racing all the way around, groups all over the course, and another tough race. That course is brutal. So, signing off from the Pain Cave. We'll talk to you again soon, guys. Ciao.